Oh yeah, Mario time! Huh. Let's go! Oh yeah, Mario time! Yeah! Let's go! Yeah! Let's go. Oh yeah!
What? What?
Let's go. Yeah! Oh yeah! Mario time! Ha! Let's go! Let's go. Oh yeah, Mario time. Ha! Oh yeah!